Hey guys, and welcome to yet another No.1 Sentai Gozyuger episode commentary and review. This time it's episode 7. Get excited. Come together, Gozyugers. Let's watch the episode. So the episode starts right where the last episode left off, with Daijujin saving Tiger Sword Black from an attack by Mr. Shining Knife and Mrs. Sweetcake, as it launches an attack with Godhorn, which smashes them down to normal size and they retreat. As the Gozyugers look on, before Kijiro notices there's someone on the shoulder of Daijujin. And it's Tyranno Ranger, who turns into a guy in a suit, who names them as the Gozyugers, before Daijujin turns around and walks away. So after the credits, Samino's looking around and Rikuo jump scares her. Samino's on a case where the fiance of her client keeps asking to be enchanted, and it turns out she's not the only one, as Rikuo offers to help because they're friends. Back at the cafe, Kinjiro's doing some weird beatboxing noises when he's told to stop by Tono. He's like, I'm doing my best, before Ryuji crushes an apple. Before entering the cafe is the guy that was riding Daijujin, saying 5 powers coming together as one? That's a sensei. And he introduced himself as Osai Meguru, who teaches a collegiate in Sentai history, and also is the Tyranno Ranger. Apparently, the other function of his ring is the regain ability, which was able to bring back Daijujin, before he starts telling them off and not acting like a Sentai team. And their first lesson is omurice. If they can make an omurice that earns his approval, he's offering them 2 new rings. As Rikuo and Samino are talking, someone asks if he's bothering her, and we see this week's No1. As he introduces himself to Samino, he starts to put her under a spell, which is counteracted by Rikuo using his own idol powers. As Samino realises that this No1 is who she's after, he introduces himself as No1 World's Enchanter No.1 and challenges Rikuo to an enchant off, pushing them into an enchant space with Mr. Shining Knife, Mrs. Sweetcake and Bouquet, who interrupts the No.1 World Enchanter and introduces herself as just a normal civilian. Back at the cafe, the 3 Gozyugers are ready to make their rice, before Tono says he can do it on his own, and he literally sniffs out all the best and freshest ingredients, refusing to share with the others. As Ryuji asks if he's actually serious, Meguro pulls out an old looking book, which is a history of Sentai. And inside we see an illustration of the Go Rangers. And as he explains about the power of Super Sentai, he also shows a page showing the Gozyugers, the 5 beasts who wield gold Tiger Swords. And where every other ring is red, With their different colours, Gozyuger is the only full team of Sentai that still exists. Back at the No.1 Enchanting battle, we're introduced to Mike Goseek as we get the No.1 battle. The first round is defending your girl being accosted by thugs, with Samino being forced to play the girl. And as the votes come in, Enchanter No.1 wins the first round. Round 2, Samino has to play an invalid. And as we see Bouquet's reaction to Rikuo looking after her, Rikuo wins round 2. And round 3 is won by the No.1. Round 4 involves the pin up against the wall, but with No.1 doing Cicada style, Rikuo wins that, leaving it in a 2-all draw, going into the final round. Back at the cafe, Kinjiro stumbles while cutting the onions and messes up some of Tono's ingredients, until the kid of the landlord turns around and says, "You're not doing it to get on your own, work together." And after pulling some faces at each other, Tono turns around to Ryuji and says, "You know how best to cook, tell us what to do, we're working together." And after receiving their instructions, they work together. As the three serve up the omurice, Osai says this is what being a Sentai is, with all the different colours included. He says a Sentai is like omurice, although Tono has no idea what he's saying. But as he tastes it, he seems to get the idea, as Osai gets up saying, "There's one last lesson before we go back to the face-off, and it's the final round." Enchanter No.1 says his greatest secret is just that he loves Samino. When it's Rikuo's turn, Samino tells him that she just wants him to be honest because it's his last chance. And he tells her that when he was a kid, he didn't really care about anything. But eventually, when he became an idol, and he saw how it made people smile, the world started to dazzle. But it was all ruined when someone who was jealous started spreading rumours about him. And being forced off stage, it ruined his career. But refusing to give up, it is his wish now to become #1 idol. And with his heartfelt confession, he wins the round. As Bouquet collapses to the table, and both Shining Knife and Miss Sweetcake both vote for him as well, winning the final round with 3 votes to nothing. Unable to admit defeat, #1 Enchanter says it's time for the bonus round. And as Rikuo and Samino are about to transform, the others turn up. And with Kinjiro providing a quick recap for the two that had missed it, we get our first group Henshin. Once they've transformed, we get the announcer and cheerleaders coming in. #1 Enchanter introduces himself, and as Rikuo starts to introduce himself, he's interrupted by Ryuji, who places everyone in their place, and the group introduce themselves as #1 Sentai Gozyuger, with just a little cringe. But Osai says that is a Sentai thing, before he too engages and transforms into Tyranno Ranger. With Rikuo taking on the No.1, the rest take on the grunts, And Osei throws his 2 rings to Ryuji and Kinjiro, saying that Tono can try next time, because he just wasn't feeling it. As Kinjiro, Ryuji and Samino all transform into Aba Ranger, Ryu Soldier and Kyoryuja. With Osei saying it's the Dinosaur Sentai Dream Team. Working together, they take out the grunts. Feeling the need to change himself as well, Tono turns into Don Momotaro as Shining Knife and Sweet Cake run away before we get another giant robot coming in, this time piloted by Mike Gosik, as Tono calls in the Tiger Sword and we get Tiger Sword Red. 2 start to fight, but Mike manages to trap Tono in some energy rings, causing Osei to summon Daijujin. Throwing off its cloak, it hits Mike's robot with a single slash, before the 2 Rangers say they're going to work together and perform Final God Special, with Daijujin forming Beast Tank mode and doing a combined Wolf Sword finish. Rikuo and No.1 Enchanter continue their battle on the ground, with Rikuo finally managing to take the upper hand, as Rikuo enchants the Enchanter before performing Finish Finger and pulling the woman out from inside. And she goes into his chest before falling out of some glasses. It turns out she was a fan of Enchanting Panic computer game. Before Rikuo finishes off No.1 Enchanter with his autograph. And we get winner, Goju Leon. As the Rangers gather and say that they've finished this time and it's the end of the case and they've done what Osei wanted, he tells them to never forget the Omurice in their hearts, as a costume figure takes aim and shoots Osei Meguru as he falls to the ground in front of them. Ryuji's the first to spot this stranger, who wears a white Tiger Sword glove, as the episode ends. Wow, I mean, what an end to an episode. I'm kind of wondering if Osei Meguru is gonna survive. I mean, this is Sentai after all. They have no problem with killing off characters. Just ask Barai if you watch my other videos. Just ask a load of the people that starred in the first ever Sentai episodes of Gozyuger. I'm not going to tell you what the figure is now because I'm working on the video for it. Because this is actually the 50th anniversary weekend. Everyone's been doing videos and stuff for 50th anniversary. I only realised yesterday, so a little bit behind. I didn't realise the actual date. But I'm doing a special Gozyuger episode review. So I'm going to be covering the very first episode. There is a kill count. So obviously that's always been a Sentai tradition. So who knows if Osei is going to survive this. Now, one of the things that Osei said was that his ring had a revive secondary power, which is what allowed him to summon Daijujin. And let's face it, who doesn't love Daijujin? I grew up on Power Rangers as a kid, all the way from like the very first episode, Day of the Dumpster, all the way up to about halfway through Turbo, where, yeah, it sort of did it in for me. I really need to watch some more at some point, but yeah. And then, of course, going back into it years later, stuck in hospital, my mate lent me the Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger DVD box set, and I've been hooked on Sentai ever since. where I think I've just crossed over the halfway point of watching every episode ever, so I'm making progress. But yeah, Daijujin will always be a special one for me, if only for nostalgia's sake. So seeing that one come in, that makes this episode so good anyway, and it's why I enjoyed the ending of the last one. So having Daijujin in, yeah. There's so many like mecha that we could get, but I'm surprised we didn't see um right there Don Oni Taijin when we had Don Momotaro for the Prime Minister. And what's going to happen with Zenkaija? So I don't think we've seen Zenkaija yet, but it's only Red Rangers. So does that mean if when they eventually get the Zenkaija ring, are they going to become a White Ranger, or are they going to become Duran? Because are they going to look like a robot? Because there was only the one suit, and that was the white one. The red one was just robot with upgrades to look like, well, the T-Rex Zord, like crossed with Daijujin. Sorry, she's shedding. So it does make me wonder how many of past Megazords are we going to see? And are they all going to look as gorgeous as Daijujin did in this episode? We get a bit of backstory for Rikuo this week, which I think he was... No. The last one that will get a backstory then will be Ryuji, because we've got some of Tono's, that he was stuck in No.1 world for 10 years. Samino's always been looking for a sister. Kinjiro was an old man who's now become young. So we now know that Rikuo had his idol career sabotaged by someone telling lies about him that basically got him sacked. Which makes you wonder what was said. And, does it have anything to do with Samino's sister? And I'm starting to really, really love Banquet. She gets brought in, and she's one of the no ones. She's obviously brought in with the expectation that every round is going to go to No.1 Enchanter. Yet, from the way it's shown, you're led to believe that basically she's voting for Rikuo every single time. And she doesn't even want to be associated as a no-one. She's like, I'm just a random civilian, but I'm happy to help. Because she is so besotted with him. I don't know if that... I don't have any Japanese friends that, follow idols or anything else. If you're Japanese and you know what idol culture's like firsthand, let me know down in the comments. There's a translate button, function, so you don't even have to worry about typing in English. But yeah, I just love her reactions. It's another fun, fast-paced episode. I really like the recipe for that omurice that they made. I'm really tempted. I want to make one of those. Obviously, we had Tiger Sword Red, who is now part of my display. Kiramasian will be going there. And yeah, then I've got to try and figure out where I'm going to put Boom Boom Jill when it turns up. Because that is on the list. I may have to take his extras off. So King Oja takes up less space, then I might be able to fit him in that shelf. But yeah, there's just... I know this is the 49th season of Sentai. It's the 50th anniversary. And we've got a lot to celebrate this year. And can you believe we're already on episode 7? We're almost a fifth of the way through through this show. And, you know, we're still getting started, but it's their first group roll call. And yes, I know, Don Brothers didn't do it until the final episode. So I'm glad we're not waiting as long this time for it. But yeah, you always get that little just sort of yes when you get that first group roll call. As soon as I realise it's happening, I'm like, oh yes, come on, come on, come on, come on. And then you got Samina going, this is so cringe. And yet Osai's like, yes, that's a Sentai roll call. It was written in the annals. It's legendary. So I hope he survives. You know, even if he was injured or whatever, but and yes, I really hope he survives, and not just because he has the powers of my favourite ranger. But anyway, that was episode 7. Keep your eyes peeled because I am going to try and get a special episode out during the week for Gozyuger. And as the year goes on, I'm trying to get ahead a little bit in my recordings for Ranger. So I've got the time to try and do different first episodes of different series of Sentai. It's the 50th anniversary. Let's celebrate it. Let's try and get as many different series of Super Sentai on this channel as possible. I won't be able to do all 50 episodes on Go Rangers Taste 84 for every single one this year. I can at least try and get the first episode of a few of them up. And remember, if you enjoy my videos, it means so much if you can like and subscribe. I'm still a small channel. This is purely hobby. You know, I get nothing out of this other than the fact that I can escape my wife and daughters for like half an hour time, and just talk Sentai. Because with them, it just goes whoosh. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll see you guys later in the week with some Go Ranger. And next Sunday, with some more Gozyuger.